part of this exercise, so what do we do to get rid of those zombie processes? So this is what we want to change in our code. We want to use the wait system call so that the parent process is going to pretty much block and wait for each of the child process to terminate in time, and every time acknowledge the termination, and so that they don't become zombie process. Their exit code is read by the parent process, they terminate properly, and once we are done acknowledging the termination of the three parents, okay, as you can see here by displaying a little message each time and using the wait system call, once we are done doing that, well, the parent process terminate, and we are going to make sure that no zombie process are created in the execution of the second version of our code. So let's go back to the code itself. How are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to keep this I'll terminate when you press enter, okay? But I'm going to display and use it only once I'm done waiting for my three processes, child process. To wait on them, well, easy way to do so is to start off with a loop from I equal 1 to I equal n, okay? Same type of loop, counter control repetition that we use to create the process, okay? And we are going to use the wait system call. So let me start by using just the wait system call with no parameters. Every time I call wait, my parent process will block until one of the child exits. When the child exits, I'm going to return from the wait system call. So I'm going to execute the next line after, which is displaying as the parent, hey, child number x of a total of y terminated \n, and I'm not saying child number 1 terminated or child number 2 or child number 3. I'm just saying 1 out of 3 terminated, 2 out of 3 terminated, etc. And there is a difference. I don't know which one terminated right now. All I know is one of the process terminated. So this little display here is just meant as a progress bar. 1 child out of 3 is done. Two children out of 3 are done. 3 children out of 3 are done, and then I know that they are all done. So I'm going to display I'll terminate when you press enter. So that will give me a chance at that point to go to another console and make sure that there are no zombie process still running around. So let me save this, and we are going to compile it to check for syntactical problem, and then run it to test it. N equal 3, and while this is running, I open again my terminal. The screen is already cleared. I'm waiting here to press enter on the PS command. And except for the typo that says child instead of child, the parent seems to be working. It will acknowledge the termination of child 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, with a little sleep in between to pace up execution. I'm doing a PS -a space u, and what you can see here, the main process, the parent process, is still there, waiting for me to press enter. However, my child processes are still there and marked as zombie. So even though we use the wait system call, we didn't solve our problem. I'm pressing enter real quick, checking again, and now all the processes are gone. Okay, but that we already had with the previous version. So what went wrong? Go back to the code. We use the wait system call. The wait system call is going to, as I indicated, block the parent process until one of the child, any of the child, is done. But that doesn't read the value of the return, the exit value of the child. So let me create a little variable rv, return value, and I pass it as parameter to the wait system call. So I'm using an alternative to the wait system call without parameter. I'm using the wait system call parameter, which takes one parameter, a pointer to an int variable. This version of the wait system call is going to actually write inside of the variable which address I pass as parameter the exit code of the child process. So by doing so, that means the parent actually reads the exit code of the child process. So we read it. That means we don't have to keep the child as a zombie anymore to wait for the parent to read that exit code. And that's the difference, the main difference between wait and wait with pointer on int parameter. Let me try to save this file Let's go back to Conqueror first. We're going to recompile, execute again. I want 3 processes. While this runs, I'm going here, and I'm going to again clear the screen, do my PS, to check if those processes are now zombies or not. I'll terminate when you press enter. Okay, that's the right time. You can see here my executable. You don't see any more zombie processes because they have terminated properly. Okay, the child process exited, and the parent process actually read the exit code, thus completing the fulfillment for them to be wiped out of the system.